Tonight is Forbidden Door. All roads have led to this, and now we're here. We start the night off with the black limo pulling in, and it stops. The door opens, and it's John Cena. He's on the phone with several board of direct members from TKO and Endeavor, but also a third party. And this third party is widely known as the creators of the Alliance Wrestling Federation. They own the rights to the Alliance Wrestling Federation. TKO is just funding it. So, as John Cena is ending this phone call, he is approached by the COO of the WWE, the Game, Triple H. Hunter begins saying, well, corporate Cena, huh? Who would have thought? Cena chuckles, then looks at Hunter seriously and says, you did what you had to do to feed your family. I did what I had to do to stay on top. We both have our reasons, but I'm the one who's still champion. After all this time, 17 times. That's a few more than even you. So next time, you should thank me. Triple H responds, I'll never thank someone who's ruining wrestling. Cena retorts, tell that to all the released talent, then walks off. The show officially begins, and commentary is introduced. Good old JR, Jerry the King Lawler, and Michael Cole. We get the first match of the night. It's a tag team match, the Club versus the Bucks. It starts off giving a recap on the Tron of all the places these two teams have been to and all the places they have wrestled each other. From AEW to WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor, TNA, every place they have been. Even the Young Bucks' little stint back in the day on SmackDown. After the video cut off, the first team made their appearance. It's the Club. They take a few steps to look at each other, and then nod, and then proceed to walk down. They get about halfway down the ramp, and then the Bucks try to age-old sneak attack. They try to jump over the barricade, and then sneak attack each of them. But the Club was prepared this time. They were prepared for whatever the Bucks had in mind. As soon as the Young Bucks try to attack from behind, the Club turn around and catch them, and then they start brawling. Each member of the Club gets each member of the Bucks 1-on-1, and then they throw them up against the stairs. And then both Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows pull out some brass knuckles from their trunks. And since the bell hasn't rang yet, this match isn't official. They start to make their way towards the Bucks, and then just then both Matt and Nick Jackson got the same thing in mind and kick each member of the Club in the balls, and then climb in the ring and have the ref ring the bell to start the match. This is a pretty standard tag team match. I'll give it about 3.5, 4 stars. Now, the Bucks actually win the match, and the Club put up a hell of a fight. The only reason they lost is because when Nick Jackson was laying on the table outside the ring, and Carl Anderson jumped to put him through the table, Matt Jackson pulled Nick off it, and then Anderson crashed and burned. And then they both hit a super kick on Luke Gallows and tossed him to the ring. Then they hit 2 EVP triggers, and Nick Jackson hits a frog splash for the 1, 2, 3. The Bucks win and they celebrate. And then they say they're gonna cut a promo. After the Bucks' victory, we get a backstage segment taped from earlier that day. It's outside the Judgment Day. We see Rhea Ripley getting ready for her match, and then Finn Balor walks into shot. He says, Remember what I said, Rhea. Be careful. Rhea Ripley says, "No man shall come between me and my title." Then she walks off and goes straight to the ring as the camera follows her. Her music blasts and then the crowd chants "Mommy" as she marches down to the ring and then waits for Becky Lynch, who makes her appearance next. Becky Lynch makes her way down to the ring as the crowd screams, and then she says in the camera, "The man has come to collect." And then she enters the ring. She completes her entrance and the bell rings. Now they start how our matches start off, locking up, and then they proceed to have one hell of a match. I give it a solid 4.5 stars. You get a bunch of back and forths, a bit of technical wrestling from Becky actually, who also starts using moves from Seth Rollins' moveset. We get a near fall, mainly from Rhea to Becky, who slams her on the ground and then goes to the top rope and then uses a coup de grace from Finn Balor's moveset, then goes for the pin. Becky kicks out. Becky manages to get the upper hand and reverse a move from Rhea into the manhandle slam. She doesn't cover yet. Instead, she gets up and steps back. She waits, and then she hits Seth Rollins' curve stomp, and then covers her. 1, 2, 3. Becky Lynch is the new Raw Women's Champion. The man has gold again. And she looks in the camera and says, "Time to go collecting." She walks off and we go to commercial. We get back and we get a segment with Tony Khan pacing back and forth, pretty nervous about tonight's main event. And then the AEW champion, Christian Cage, walks up. He asks Tony, "How have you been? You okay?" Trying to act all concerned. But Tony notices and cuts him off, saying, "I know what this is about. I know you don't care about me. This is about your match. Christian, you chose that side. You stick there. Do the match and leave me alone." And Tony Khan walks off. We go to the ring and then the next match starts. It is Wheeler Yuta versus Claudio Castagnoli. We pretty much get a package about everything they've been through, how all this started, with the Death Riders beating up Daniel Bryan into retirement, and a shot of Wheeler Yuta's hand reaching out to allay Daniel Bryan as the paramedics come down and stretch him out to the ring. I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty much a bathroom break match. Nothing special. I mean, it's a blood feud, but it's a solid 3-star match. And Wheeler Yuta wins this by grabbing Claudio Castagnoli's tights in a roll-up. After the 1, 2, 3, Wheeler Yuta runs out the ring, knowing that he was able to escape this time. But once he's at the top of the ramp, he looks back at Claudio and just laughs and waves, "Bye-bye." Then walks off and we go to commercial. We come back to a segment. This time we see Jon Moxley getting ready for his next match. Then Shad Khan walks up to him. He says, "Do what you must to get what we want." Moxley doesn't say a word. He just continues taping his hand with that white tape that they use and walks off. Moxley goes straight to the ring. He comes out by himself. No members of the Death Riders in sight. He gets in the ring and starts stretching. He's there for business. Then Christian Cage music hits. He comes down with Mama Wayne and Nick Wayne. They all come down the ramp. And Christian gets in the ring, and Nick and Mama Wayne stand by ringside. Right before the bell rings, Shad and Tony Khan Both appear side by side on the Tron. Chad starts. There's been a little bit of a change, boys. Then Tony finishes. This match is now a no disqualification match. Have fun, boys. And then the screen cuts back to the ring, and we see Jon Moxley smiling like the Grinch. And then Nick Wayne slides in the ring and hits Jon Moxley in the head from behind. Him and Christian begin to beat Moxley up, with Mama Wayne smiling in the corner. And then the Death Riders music hit, and we see Maria Shafir and Pac. They run down to the ring as Maria Shafir distracts Christian, while Pac beats up Nick Wayne, allowing Jon Moxley to recover. He grabs the chair that Maria Shafir recently just slid into the ring. He mercilessly hits Christian in the back with the chair repeatedly as Maria Shafir keeps Mama Wayne in the corner and Pac keeps Nick Wayne on the ground, allowing Moxley to hit 2 concertos on Christian Cage, then pins him with Christian's head buried beneath the chairs. 1, 2, 3. Jon Moxley is your new AEW champion. We get backstage footage of Shad and Tony Khan looking at the match through a TV. And Shad says, seems like Jon Moxley wanted this a little bit more than Christian did. Tony just looks at his dad, shakes his head in disgust, and walks off. We get a commercial break, and then we come back and see backstage footage of Roman Reigns getting ready for his match, when we see Triple H approach him. Hunter says, Tribal Chief, you're called to action once again. I don't know who you fight for or where you stand in all of this, but I do know that I can trust you. Roman looks at him, says nothing, and walks off. The next match is the World Heavyweight Championship match. Challenger Seth Rollins versus the champion Jey Uso. Seth Rollins comes out first. He's in a funny outfit as usual. He's laughing and his confidence is high. The crowd sings along and he makes his way to the ring. He gets in the ring and just poses. And then he waits for Jey Uso, who makes his appearance. He comes out through the crowd, yeeting away. He gets in the ring and then they cut his music. Ain't no need to keep yeeting and playing the damn song twice. Cut it off. Anyways, they have a 3-star match, and in the final third, Jey Uso hits 2 super kicks to lay out Seth Rollins. He's in a position for a frog splash. But while Jey is in mid-air, Seth Rollins moves and Jey lands belly first. Seth notices this. He gets up and bounces off the turnbuckle, and then he runs to the other side, and then he hits a curb stomp on Jey Uso. And then he runs to the other side and hits another one for good measure. And then he pins him. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins is your new World Heavyweight Champion. Seth Rollins' music hits and he celebrates. As he's walking up to the ramp, he looks in the camera and says, "It's time for a revolution." And then he walks off, and then we go backstage and get some footage of a black car pulling in. It's the final boss, The Rock. He gets out and the crowd audibly boos. And then you see Tony Khan walks up, and The Rock looks at him and says, "Where's your father?" Tony Khan points behind him at a room in the distance. The Rock looks at the door and then back at Tony and says, "Thank you." And as Tony Khan is walking off, The Rock says, "Hey, don't go far," and then walks off. The next match is CM Punk versus R-Truth. The first one that comes out is R-Truth. He raps his way to the ring. What's up? He's trying to play it off as a babyface. He gets in the ring. He asks the crowd, what's up? He asks the commentary, what's up? And then he gives a blank stare into the camera and says, Aligned Wrestling Federation, what's up? And then drops the mic. And then we get CM Punk. Music hits, interrupting anything else Truth has to say. The crowd erupts and sings the Code of Personality as CM Punk makes his appearance. He says at the same time as the crowd, it's clobbering time. It makes his way down to the ring for the match to start. These two have a great match. 4 stars. They're going back and forth, and then Truth lays out Punk and gets the upper hand. He goes to the top rope for a crossbody. He jumps, but Punk catches him and goes for a GTS. He turns sideways and hits Truth, who falls back into the ropes, and then Truth responds with a lie detector. And now both wrestlers are laid out. Truth just manages to go for a cover. 1, 2, Punk kicks out. Truth is in shock, but also he knows that's pretty much all he had left. He gets up and grabs Punk, steps back, and goes for a scissor kick. But Punk moves, grabs Truth, and he hits a go to sleep. For the 1, 2, Truth kicks out, and this time Punk is surprised. But he gets out the ring and pulls out a table, and he sets it up right next to the Spanish announcer's desk. And then Punk tries to enter the ring from the exact same side that he just hit the table up from. Truth recovers and hits Seth with a big boot, but Rollins just manages to hang on. R-Truth runs back and jumps over the rope, but Rollins just manages to grab him. He tries to counter before they fall, but fails, and both of them take the worst of it. Neither of them making it up for a 10 count, and this match ends in a draw. We go to commercial, and when we come back, we get a segment with The Rock and Shad Khan in the room having a conversation when Tony walks in and says, "Look, I'm about to leave. Do you need anything else before I go?" And Shad says, "Well, yes. I have someone calling in a favor from the third party." Tony looks confused as why won't they call this person, whoever they is, by their name? After all, these are the people who own the rights to the Aligned Wrestling Federation. The Rock cuts in. He says, "Look, on Wednesday, we have a talent coming in, and we need him to have his debut match in the main event. I don't care who's on your roster. Let's get him out there with someone who's credible and who can get eyes on the match." Tony says, "Well, do you have any idea who I should get?" The Rock says, "Oh, I have an idea, and you'll find out next week." And then he walks off. And Shad Khan walks in the shot. He pats Tony on the shoulder and says, "Don't worry, son." And then he walks off to go watch the main event, Roman Reigns versus the WWE Champion, John Cena. The first one that comes out is the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. He comes out with his golden glove on, no shirt, black pants, and Ula Fala around his neck. He walks to the ring
as commentary. They say they haven't seen this kind of Roman since he was in possession of both the world title and the WWE title. Roman gets in the ring, throws up his one, then John Cena's music interrupts him. And then John makes his way down to the ring. He comes out with the title on backwards around his waist. He holds up the title, does the whole shtick, and walks down to the ring. He gets in the ring, looks at Roman, walks up to him, takes off the WWE title, and raises it high, and then gives it to the ref. The referee holds up the belt, and then the bell rings. The match starts. We get about a 30-minute match from these two. Both play their greatest hits. Roman hits a Samoan drop on Cena. Cena recovers and hits the 5 moves of Doom and goes for an AA on Roman Reigns. But Roman escapes and hits a Superman punch on Cena for a near fall. Roman gets up and goes to the corner for a spear. And as soon as he does, mid-spear, Cena moves and gets an STF on Roman Reigns. Cena holds it in for a while, trying to get as much as he can out of it. But Roman just manages, barely, just manages to get to the ropes for a rope break. Cena rolls out the ring and grabs the title, and dodges the ref and tries to hit Roman Reigns for the title. But Roman ducks, bounces off the ropes, and spears John Cena. Roman gets up and looks down at Cena, and then goes back to the corner and sets up for another spear. The second John makes it to his feet, Roman spears him again, and then covers him. 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns is the new WWE champion, and he has won in a decisive win. The crowd stands on their feet applauding, as does commentary, as this was a great match and also the end of John Cena's 17th world title reign. We get replays throughout the match as commentary is talking about everything that these two have been through, as the crowd continues to applaud John Cena on his last match. We get back to the ring and we see John Cena and Roman Reigns in the middle of the ring. They shake hands and John Cena gets out the ring and walks to the back as Roman Reigns starts celebrating his victory. As Roman Reigns holds up the title in celebration, it goes backstage and we see The Rock and Shad Khan sitting there watching on the TV screen the match. Shad says, "Well, that makes 3. And all's well ends well." The Rock says, "That was step 1. Step 2 is reform our Shield. Now stronger than ever." And starting tonight, he looks at the TV screen as now we see a split 3-way screen of all 3 members of the Shield with world titles. And then we get back and see The Rock. He says, "Our federation now has a Shield. Now we just need one more person as our sword." As Forbidden Door ends.